It's weird that we're the lucky ones, huh? I mean, we could be out there getting our legs eaten. Or worse, we could be the guys eating the legs.
Hi, this is the Professional Amateur Hour coming to you fresh from getting a haircut and just in time too, because I got a doozy of a movie to share with you this time. This week, Leo sent me a screener, and he sent me a screener for HEMET, or The Landlady Don't Drink Tea. And that's the actual title of it. And this 2024 film was directed by Tony Olmos and stars Brian Patrick Butler, Nick Young, and Kimberly Weinberger, among others, of course. So what is the story of HEMET, or The Landlady Don't Drink Tea? Well, this one takes place in America, kind of modern day America, where, rents are skyrocketing. And so it follows these tenants at this kind of like apartment complex, even though it's really kind of like a motel more than anything else. And they all have this one landlady, and the landlady is like a tyrant, and they all have to please her or else they get evicted. And she's like a mean old lady too. And she's there she's manipulating them, kicking them out for no reason, turning them against each other. There's also this situation where there's this like pandemic type of situation where I guess all these drug addicts, they take some type of salt, and then that turns them into cannibals, like cannibal zombies. So they're eating people's legs is kind of like a running joke with this one. And so they have to deal with that as well. Mostly though, it's just kind of their interpersonal situations and them really kind of dealing with this terrible, evil landlady and how she has to, control them. And of course, something does go down. There's a few murders involved. And, what will happen though? Well, for that, you gotta watch the movie and find out. All right, so let's discuss this film. Well, with this one, I kind of watched the trailer before I watched it. And one of the kind of quotations that they put up there was trauma-esque. And so it does kind of follow in the same, I would say, tone as trauma movies. And if you don't know trauma movies, good on you probably, but they're just, B movies that are known for being quite trashy. And this one, I have to say, is trashy as heck. There's so much kind of just trash that's going on with this one. It really does certainly remind me kind of a trauma movie. But at the same time, they have much better cameras than a trauma movie, so everything's kind of crisp and clear. Or at least the screener that I sent was like 1080p. I did see this movie was on Tubi, but Tubi only goes up to like 720p, so a little bit kind of softer edges. But my screener was very crisp, and so that kind of moved away from the trauma aspect of it. But with that being said, it's still just as trashy, and I loved every moment of the trash that I was watching. I don't think I would have found this movie without, Leo sending it to me, so I gotta thank him for that. But this one certainly is just like a trashy B movie that you love to watch it. It's just like a train wreck, really, to tell you the truth. It's a train wreck that you can't just look away. There's just so many things in this one that just make it like hilarious for someone like me. First of all, it does try to like do splatter effects and stuff like that, though I do have a problem with it, but they're like chopping off hands and chopping off legs and all this other stuff as well. So that kind of works into it. The old woman, oh my gosh, this old woman is like a terrible person, and she's calling people like everyone's a bitch or a cunt or something like that. And it's just hilarious. And she talks like super fast too. And it's great fun. And then everybody else as well, like they're turning against each other. And when you find out about their backstories and stuff, it's kind of interesting. But yeah, it's just a wonderfully trashy film that if you like kind of bad movies, this is certainly something to watch. Also, I did mention the old lady, and the old lady is played by a man, Brian Patrick Butler, I think his name is, and he does an amazing job with this performance. He's really leaning into just kind of the crassness and rudeness of the lady, and just over the top performance. She's not, chewing the scenery. She becomes the scenery. Like once you see this old woman, and even the first like scene that she's in, she got me hooked onto this film. So once that happens, you're like, wow, this character is something else. This character is something to see. The old woman herself, I would say, is just worth the price of admission for this one. Like you watch it just to see the old lady do stuff, and it is absolutely amazing. All the other people, they do, a fine job with their performances, but really, really, you got to see this old lady and the things that she does and the things that she says are just hilarious. And this movie is called, like the subtitle is there, The Landlady Don't Drink Tea. And what does she drink? Well, that was like the funniest joke in the whole movie. And get ready for it because I'm going to clip it in right now.
I just had a few questions, Liz. Thought we could chat over some tea.
I drink 4 things: blood, cum, coke, and rum, and I've already had 3 of those today.
And so you can kind of see kind of the crassness of it all with just that one clip, I think, and absolutely amazing. And the makeup on the old lady too, like you can clearly tell it's, you know, a much younger guy underneath, but man, this old lady is something to see for sure. Other than that, with this one, I did enjoy the story. Actually, when it comes down to it, it's just, you know, people, you know, fighting against each other and backstabbing and, you know, setting each other up. But at the same time, it's fun. It's fun to see these characters, and the characters are just like over the top as well. And I would say that the story does get quite complex with all of the different layers on it and all the different kind of scheming and plotting and all this stuff. And it makes it kind of worthwhile, I would say, just to be entertained by this thing. Like once I started pressing play, I really couldn't look away from it. Like a lot of these films, you know, I might reach for my phone. And I did think I reached for my phone one time, just, you know, during the end of, I guess, the second act or towards the beginning of the third act, where, you know, they're just kind of setting up for their big kind of set piece. And this one was certainly something to watch. Like I was certainly hooked after the first scene, so it is a good movie to watch. And I think that brings me to what doesn't work about this film. Well, like I said, it's that kind of trauma-esque movie. So if you're not into that, you know, low budget kind of ridiculous movie, then you're probably not going to like this one. Personally, I like that type of stuff. I really did enjoy it for that. However, I would say because it's just, you know, people talking with each other, it does have this slower pace to it. And the scenes are kind of longer because they're having these, you know, drawn out conversations. So it's not like a punchy story, but at the same time, you're watching it, like you're enjoying it, you're enjoying the characters. It's just not, you know, going a mile a minute like other movies. And certainly that is something to, you know, take your time and savor the badness of it, or savor the trashiness of it. But that's what I'm there for personally, so I did enjoy that aspect of it. It did kind of remind me of another movie I think I reviewed maybe 2 years ago called Survival Knife, where again, it's just kind of this trashy movie, but at the same time, something worth watching, I think. Something that I certainly was hooked on to after that first scene. So yeah, it certainly is not going to be for everyone, but those who it is for are really going to enjoy it, I think. Other than that, they do have some practical effects when they, you know, cut off someone's leg or arm or something like that. And there's a little bit of blood splatter. I gotta say, for, you know, the actions that they're doing, there's not enough blood for what they're doing. Like they're taking a chainsaw to someone and it's just like a little bit of blood here or there. And so they should have, you know, amped that up. But at the same time, I'm sure they're just, you know, working within their budget and using the blood that they do have, or, you know, the fake blood that they do have. So that could have certainly have been improved. And so overall, would I recommend this movie? Well, if you like trauma movies, you gotta watch this one. It is great fun. If you like bad movies, if you have like a best of the worst type of thing going on, this one is certainly something to check out. It is certainly a spectacle. Like I said before, like it's a train wreck that you really can't look away from. And I do highly recommend it if you like bad movies. And as for a rating, well, it is a good bad movie, so I am going to give it the 4.5. I'm also going to give it a shadow score of 8 on the good bad scale, because I think it kind of rivals, you know, the best of the trauma movies. And with that being said, I think that's all I wanted to say. So like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Peace out.